Hello everyone. So this is another student's quest. This question was sent to me by one of my students, and this question says that determine all functions f satisfying the functional relation. So there is a giant functional relation given, and especially by looking at this expression and here on this, a little bit problem occurs because it's very difficult to handle in the same way, or just carrying this whole two expressions is very difficult to handle. But one thing you can notice here is a very wonderful thing, that if I have any expression, so I have 2007x plus 150 divided by 145x minus 2007. Now notice, let's say this expression is our function gx. Now notice that we know this fact that if I have any function of such nature, ax plus b divided by cx plus d, and if I have a plus d is equal to 0, then we can directly say that the function and its inverse is same. So for this case, I can write g inverse x is equal to gx. It means what? That if I have this thing, 2007 and minus 2007 is there. So a is equal to 2007, I can assume, and d is equal to minus 2007. So for this, I have g of gx is equal to x. So this fact I can write g of gx is equal to x. So our expression now look like, suppose I'm assuming this function, so I have 2 of fx, and what I've assumed this function gx, so I can write thrice of f of gx as a second term, and let's say this expression is our ux, and this is, we have the first equation. Now you notice the ux is also a very weird one, so let's try to manage that thing. Ux is, I have 435x squared, then minus 2007x plus 300, and denominator is the same as what we have in the gx, that is 145x minus 2007. Now all that we have to simplify this thing and try to manage to write this ux in terms of gx if possible. And it's not difficult, because one thing you notice here, that the 145 times 3 is 435, and there's a hope that it can be possible. So for that we are going to make this thing possible. And how I'm making, let's say I am writing this thing as 3x times 145x minus 2007. And why I'm writing, because you want to make the numerator, or I want to express the numerator in terms of denominator. So first two terms I have made it, not first two terms, the first term only, because you notice that when multiply this thing, I will get this. But what I got this thing extra. What I got? Thrice of 2007x I got extra. And these two terms were already there in the numerator, so let me write it as it is. So minus 2007x and plus 300 were already there. And in denominator, I have 145x minus 2007. Now we separate it. You can notice that if I separate these two together, and so what we get here, the 3x. So first term I got 3x here, and I'm taking these two together. But before that, you can notice that this 2 I can manage, because it's thrice of 2007x is a 1 times 2007x. So I can just take it and I can write twice of 2007x and plus 300. And this whole thing, second term, divided by 145x minus 2007. You can now notice that This is actually, we can take 2 common, so I can write it as 3x plus twice of 2007x and plus 150 divided by 145x minus 2007. Notice this is exact gx what we have assumed in the beginning. This is our gx. So I can write this ux as 3x plus 2gx. This is our ux I have. It means now the functional equation, the first one, I can write. So I can write 1 becomes twice of fx plus thrice of f of gx, and ux is now 3x plus 2gx. Let's say this equation is equation number 2, the simplified one. Now in this equation I have this fx and f of gx, so I know this fact that since the g of gx is x, so I can use this fact to make our life simpler. So I'm substituting in this equation x with gx. So if I substitute x with gx, this equation number 2 will become what? Twice of f of gx, and this thrice of f of g of gx, that will become fx, because g of gx is x. This is 3 of gx, and again this time twice of g of gx, that is again x, and this is the third equation. Now using second and third, we have to find out fx. So solve it. So you can notice that here I can cancel this one and this one. So for that I multiply this second with 3 and third with 2. So and subtract it in reverse order. So third equation multiply by 2 and the second equation multiply by 3 and then subtracting. So here it will become 9 and that will become 4. So 9 minus 4, that will become 5 fx on the left hand side. Because this 2 I have aimed to cancel, so this is already cancelled in all the scene. Now here that will become 3 times 3, 9 gx and plus 6x. This is coming from the yellow one. And the second term I will get here by multiplying by 2, so that will become 6x and that will become 4gx. It means what I got after simplification is 5fx, and here 6x cancels, and 9 minus 4 5, so 5gx. It means what we observed here, very interesting, that the fx is equal to gx. It means the function what we were looking for is already there in the question. So what about that? The gx is nothing but the same function what we assumed in the beginning is going to be what? 2007x plus 150. 2007x plus 150 divided by 145x minus 2007. So that's it. So this is, by the way, fx also. So we found the function. All right. So this was the solution for this question. Of course, we don't have to carry out this entire expression, or otherwise it will be very messy. We have to take some wiser steps and do some iteration and just the concept of the inverse of rational function, especially when a is equal to minus d. So I hope you understood this question, how to solve. So see you in the next video with some other students' quest. Till then, stay math active.